Today on the CTV News at 5, City Council gets its first look at Lethbridge's new leisure centre. Plus, we take you inside the Hub, Coaldale's new emergency operations facility. And the story of a Lethbridge daughter-father motocrossing duo.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. City Council got its first look today at plans for the proposed new Lethbridge Leisure Centre. Consultants presented their feasibility study on the new facility to council members this afternoon. The report includes community input on the project. The $173 million centre will be built on the west side, near the new high schools. It'll include an aquatic facility, twin ice rinks, an indoor playground, and meeting space.
We got huge feedback in terms of indoor playground, and so that was a huge surprise. Other communities have those, but we didn't realize that there was that huge of a need within our community, and we had a huge response in terms of indoor playground.
Now, the public will get a chance to see the proposed plans at an open house tomorrow night. It's being held at the Fritzig Centre starting at 6:30. The town of Coaldale is celebrating the grand opening of a building they hope they'll never have to use. The Hub is a $1 million facility that will house emergency operations in times of disaster. Daryl Rummeld reports.
On Monday, the ribbon was finally cut on a project 13 years in the making. Welcome inside the Hub, a building specifically designed to handle planning processes for emergency operations.
We had a room and a fire hall dedicated as an EOC in case the one at the town office didn't work, but neither one was a functioning EOC, and we knew that, and we just prayed we'd never have to use it. Now we have a proper one. We can use it for training exercises, and if something does, the wheels come off the rail, then we can have a proper building that we can use.
Now emergency meetings and training exercises will be held here. In the event of a disaster or crisis, orders would come from this room and be handed down to first responders. The building also has ample meeting space and will house Coaldale's family services operations.
The better prepared our community and area are to handle unimaginable disasters, the better confidence the community can have. It sort of takes away that panic.
The opening of the building coincides with Emergency Preparedness Week. Officials say although the centralization of operations is a tremendous step forward for the community, residents must also take steps to ensure they are prepared as well for up to 72 hours.
You know, if a major storm comes through Coaldale, we don't have the personnel to be able to respond to everybody's emergency right off the bat. So people have to be prepared to be able to sustain themselves for at least 72 hours, you know, if they're not injured, and they just have to shelter in place in their homes. And if they have a 72-hour kit, that's perfect. That gives us some breathing room to deal with the people we need to deal with first.
It's an impressive building with an impressive price tag, coming in at just under $1 million, paid in part by MSI funding. But town officials say should just one crisis emerge, the benefit of the building will far exceed the cost. Daryl Rummeld, CTV News, Coaldale.
And town officials say the next step is to continue to develop the community's emergency preparedness plan. 27-year-old man is facing charges for allegedly impersonating a police officer in an investment scheme. Lethbridge police say a man had contacted a number of acquaintances and promised them a very high rate of return on investment in a number of real estate opportunities. In some of the cases, he also told the victims that he was a police officer and even provided a fake police ID card. The victims handed over various amounts of money. Christopher Michael Burke from Edmonton has been charged following an investigation by the Police Economics Crime Unit. And regional police also nabbed an impaired driver over the weekend, going more than double the speed limit while he was more than double the legal alcohol limit. Early Saturday morning, police saw a vehicle going 104 kilometers an hour in a 50 zone. When they pulled the driver over, officers say he admitted to drinking and provided a breath sample that was twice the legal limit. 38-year-old Troy Collier of Lethbridge is charged with impaired driving, driving over .08, as well as dangerous driving. And RCMP have made a drugs and weapon bust on the Trans-Canada Highway east of Medicine Hat. Officers uncovered $70,000 worth of pot, a 410 gauge shotgun, as well as ammunition. Two people face charges: Adam Sprout from Saskatchewan and Amelia Cote-Tremblay from Quebec. Dory Rossiter's here, and so is the sun.
I know. Enjoy it while we have it, because we're going to lose it for one day on Thursday, it looks like. Yeah, well, a little cloudy on Wednesday as well. But Thursday is the day for us here in Lethbridge where we're probably going to see some shower activity, but next weekend's looking much better than this past weekend looked. That's all I'll say for now. Tell you more in a couple of minutes.
That may not be hard to beat. We like how it sounds, though. Thanks, Dory. Canada now has its first ever National Mental Health Strategy. It was announced today as part of Mental Health Week. The National Mental Health Commission says it's time for an overhaul of the entire mental health system. One of the recommendations involves funding. Currently, 7% of health dollars go to mental health care, and the Commission says that should be increased to 9%. But most of the 100 recommendations focus on access to treatment and prevention. Until now, Canada has had the dubious distinction of being the only G8 country without a mental health strategy. Mental health issues affect a lot of people. 1 in 5 Canadians will have a mental illness at some point in their lives.
It was tough for me for the longest period of time because I didn't want to recognize the fact that I might have a mental health issue, and that is so common. Mine was a result of an accident, but I mean there are so many people out there who have mental health issues because of varied reasons.
And the strategy also emphasizes early diagnosis, especially among youth. Linda Patterson's 22-year-old daughter has several mental health issues, and she's part of a week-long Twitter series on mental health issues, hoping to get people talking about mental health.
Even mentioning about having this interview, people were saying, "Oh, mental health? Oh, there's and no one asked a question after mental health. You're just." People don't know how to talk to people about mental health.
The hashtag for all the Twitter chat this week is MyMentalHealth2010. And it's also National Hunger Awareness Week, and this year's theme is Give It Up for Hunger. Food banks across the country are joining forces this week. They're raising awareness for what they say is the very solvable problem of hunger in Canada. Close to 900,000 Canadians used a food bank last month alone. Organizers are encouraging the public to give food or money or even drop by the food bank and donate their time.
One of the things that we are participating in is a luncheon, and with the luncheon we have been provided these bags that people can take and host solidarity events at their own centers where they sit together and have lunch together and talk about hunger needs. They can also use these bags to fill them up with good food or financial donations for our food banks.
And you can pick up your fundraising bags by calling the Interfaith Food Bank at 403-320-8779. Local radio station is teaming up with the YWCA to provide bras to women in need. For the next 2 weeks, 1077 The River is collecting your gently used bras. Starting Monday, they'll string whatever they've collected so far across Whoop Up Drive. The station hopes to be able to collect enough bras to make it from one side of Whoop Up to the other. All of the bras donated will then be handed over to the YWCA Harbour House.
We're in our second week of collecting. Starting next week, we'll be stringing the bras across Whoop Up Walking Bridge. We're hoping to get 500 bras to get there and back. Last year we made it all the way across, and we'd like to double it this year.
And you can drop off your bras at the river or Intrigue Lingerie until May 18th. And for every bra donated, Intrigue will also donate $5 to the YWCA Harbour House. The Be Fit for Life Centre at Lethbridge College is hoping to make exercise a habit, thus ensuring a lifetime of fitness. That's the idea behind Totally You Girl. On Saturday, about 150 girls ages 8 to 13 were invited to try out a variety of physical activities. There was yoga, volleyball, soccer, and dance, as well as sessions on nutrition, art, and body image. The college hopes that girls will overcome any barriers they may have to pursue an active lifestyle. And hundreds of people braved wind, rain, and snow this weekend to support families who have suffered from workplace tragedy. The Steps for Life walk took place Saturday morning at Henderson Lake. The annual 5-kilometer fundraising walk helps raise community awareness of the need to prevent future workplace injuries, illnesses, and deaths. It also raises funds for Threads of Life family support programs and services. Organizers say workplace tragedies can have a devastating ripple effect on families and co-workers. 650 people registered for this year's event, and it raised almost $30,000. Well, a large pet food recall on the weekend has pet owners checking the labels today. Diamond Pet Foods is recalling 9 products due to potential salmonella contamination. Kirkland is one of the popular brands being voluntarily recalled. Retailers and customers received notice of the recall on Saturday. The best before dates for the recalled products are December 9th through to April 7th of this year. The illnesses in 14 Americans has been linked to dry dog food. There have been no reports of sickness in dogs or cats or people in Canada. Dr. Candice Wicker says salmonella affects people the same way as humans, pets rather, the same way as humans. Infected animals may be lethargic and suffer from vomiting or diarrhea.
Even if they're not showing signs, they may be actually shedding the bacteria in their stool, so that's another way that people can be affected. So not only just handling the food that's affected with the bacteria, but also handling the feces.
We have pulled some bags off our shelves. Some of the dates that were in that time frame, we did pull those off. We've gotten rid of all the samples that we had, and we are taking any food back that people have that are within those dates.
Consumers are being urged to stop feeding their pets the recalled product and find an alternative pet food in the meantime. Meanwhile, be also sure to wash your hands thoroughly after any contact with pets or the food. And in the markets today, oil drops to the lowest price of the year, down 55 cents. Here's what else happened.